Hi everyone, it's Erin. First I'm going to say forgive the lighting. It's kind of dark in here, and I don't really feel like going and turning on more lights. So I'm just hanging out in my living room. But this video is actually a by request video. So I had a question asked of me, and that question was to talk a little bit about our TTC journey, or our trying to conceive journey. So Steve and I, Steve's my husband, we decided about probably three and a half, 4 years ago that we were going to start trying for a baby. So this would have been about a year after we were married, and Steve and I have been together now almost 11 years. We were high school sweethearts, so we started dating when I was 16, and yeah, and I'm 28 now. Am I? I don't forget. No, I'm 27. Anyway, however old I am. We've been together a long time. So a year after we got married, we decided we were going to start trying for a baby. And we tried for 8 months and had no success through those 8 months. But during the first initial 8 months, I was traveling a lot for work, like a lot. I was speaking in the U.S. and in Canada and just traveling all the time. And so it was really hard for us because I think like we worked out that generally speaking, I was traveling every single time I was also ovulating. So it was definitely interesting. But in the first 8 months, I was doing all of the charting and temping and tracking, and for those of you not familiar with that, basically I was doing my basal body temperature every single morning. I was tracking that with fertilityfriend.com. I was checking cervical mucus, which sounds disgusting, but I'll tell you that that's something else. All kinds of things, just really getting in tune with my body. But we even tried during that time too. We tried ovulation strips. I ordered them from earlypregnancytests.com. I also ordered pregnancy strips from that site and went through a ton of them, I'll tell you. And we had no luck until January. So this would have been like January, I forget the year, but a couple years ago. So we ended up getting pregnant, and because I was, like, we were trying, and pretty hardcore trying, I was testing really early all the time, and I got a positive on a test, and the next day got a positive, and the next day got a positive, but then I went out to visit a friend of mine who had just had a baby, and when I was out there, I started getting cramps. So my sister was with me, we were driving home, and I said to her, I'm like, I don't feel the greatest. Maybe I'm just hungry. So I went home and I had something to eat, and then I laid down and I fell asleep. Well, when I woke up a couple hours later, I went to the bathroom and I had started bleeding. So we went to the hospital, and the doctor couldn't, at that point, get a positive on a pregnancy test. So all of my hormone levels had gone away and dropped. And he was even like, he's like, are you sure you got a positive on a test? And I showed him the pictures of all the tests I had taken, and he was like, yeah, that's for sure a positive. So it was probably one of those like early pregnancies, you know what I mean, that I wouldn't have normally even noticed, but I did because I was testing like a crazy person. Not the people that test a lot are crazy, because let me just tell you ladies that are there, I was there. I was there, and I lived it, breathed it, etc. And we know that it is a little crazy sometimes to pee on that many test strips. So anyway, after the miscarriage, and it was still the same as a miscarriage because we got very excited, you know. So even though it was only like 3 days of being pregnant, we were fortunate that it wasn't a longer pregnancy. It was still really hard because it's one of those things where you go from thinking like your whole world's going to change. You're going to, you know, be a mom and go be pregnant and go through all of that different stuff. Then all of a sudden one day it's just all taken away. It's just all gone. So it was really tough. And for a while after, I didn't even want to try to get pregnant. I was just like, no, I was totally turned off the idea. and then we decided that it wasn't the right time anyway, so, which I think was just more of a coping mechanism. But anyway, so it was a couple, so one thing that I forgot to tell you right from the very beginning of all of this is that when I was 18, I had a blood clot in my leg, a deep vein thrombosis, and because of that, I had to go off the birth control pill then, so back when I was 18. So I had never been transitioning off of a pill. So after we had the miscarriage, we were still, intimate, but we were kind of like, well, we're not going to try, but we're not going to prevent either. So that lasted a couple of years, and we never got pregnant through all of that time. So we both got to a place where we were like, you know what, something could be up, something really could be up. So we made an appointment with my doctor, who referred us to the fertility clinic here in the city, and we went and saw them. And then they scheduled all of the tests, like the blood work and everything else that we had to do. So we scheduled all of that, and we went back on April 1st of this year, of 2010, and did everything. Like, they did an internal check. They did ultrasound scans. They did, everything. They were checking me. They were doing blood work, etc., etc. Well, April 1st was the weekend of Easter, and I never, in my wildest dreams or anything, thought I could possibly be pregnant. Sunday, I noticed that I was getting crampy, and I was like, okay, I should take some Advil. So I did, again, still not knowing anything, and Monday, I still hadn't got my period, and by this point, I was supposed to get it the day we went and saw the fertility doctor, so April 1st. So by April 5th, I was 4 days past my cycle date, and I'm pretty regular. So come April 5th, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go get a test. And Steve was at work, so I went and got a test, brought it home. Actually, I bought 2 tests, because being a pee-on-a-stickaholic, I knew that if I got a positive, which I wasn't thinking I would, but if I got a positive, I would not just trust one test. So I was like, I need to. So I brought them home. I actually had peed before I left in a cup. And when I came home, I dipped the first test, and it came up instantly as a big fat positive, instantly. And I literally was in shock, because we had struggled for so long with not getting pregnant, and then we had made this journey to go see the fertility doctor. So it was just absolutely incredible to get that big fat positive. So I've been kind of at all levels of it. I'm not one of those fortunate people that get pregnant quickly, which, if you are, great, that's fantastic, but I'm just not. But it was definitely a journey, and I think, I think for me, now that I'm pregnant, I appreciate every single day. And not that other pregnant people, if you get pregnant easy, not that you don't appreciate every day, but it's I don't care if I'm sick, I don't care if I'm sore, I don't care if I get fat, I don't care about any of it, because I'm just so excited. I've waited so long to be pregnant. So that's our journey, and if you have questions, post them as a comment. And I'm always willing to kind of be there to support other people who are trying to conceive, because I get it. I know what it's like. I've been there, and yeah. So that's our journey. Thanks for watching. Bye.